Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is reform. And me considering have they lost the plot altogether because the last 48 hours has been total madness in the party. So let me begin. So I went out for my dinner. I thought I'll go out for dinner, there's not much news today, and enjoy my dinner. And when I left for my dinner, Reform didn't have a chairman because Zia Yusuf had resigned the day before. Okay? And what had happened was there seemed to be the majority of their fans being celebrating the fact that Zia Yusuf was not the party chairman anymore. He went away in a huff over Sarah Puchin asking about burqa bans, and he was like, that's not our policy, But the party whip, who's Lee Anderson, had backed this statement publicly about banning the burqa, and he said he supported it. Zia Yusuf said it wasn't party policy, and everybody was in a huff, and then the next day he resigned. He was gone. And for about 24 hours, quite a lot of Reform fans were delighted. Some of them, very close in the party, said, we'll be popping corks in party HQ tonight over Zia Yusuf's statement of resignation. Those tweets have now disappeared. Right, Reform have went like that, delete, we're going to shout them back in about an hour, delete all your tweets, right? So everybody that slaughtered them the party have now changed them all. Now there was another thing that came about. They were starting this rumour. The minute Zia Yusuf left, there was close to the party insiders, started this thing, and I thought, that's lies, right? They were suddenly saying, now that Zia's away, Nigel Farage didn't know anything about the Rupert Lowe police complaint from Zia Yusuf, and he was very angry. And I called that out right away. I went, no, it's not. That's pantomime, right? I wonder if those remarks will suddenly get drawn back in as well now. And, we're all united now, and Nigel suddenly did know about Zia phoning the police on Rupert Lowe, right? So that's kind of where we were. I'm away out to get my dinner. I've came back, and my phone's exploded, right? Zia Yusuf has decided not to leave Reform, right? Because he's had so many comments made to him of support in the last 24 hours, okay? And suddenly, these people that were popping corks and all that, I'm leaving, are now putting tweets out saying what a wonderful asset to the party is, and bringing them back in is great, right? Yous are acting like the people you're telling us we should vote for you to replace. In fact, in many aspects, you're actually acting worse than the people you're asking us to vote for so you can replace, right? Well, if two decrepit parties run the country recently, and both of them have not been very good. If it wasn't for the fact that both of them were not very good, you would probably be on about half the amount of votes you're getting now in polls, right? All you need to do is nothing for 4 years, and guess what? You'll win an election. But the amount of stuff that Reform do, you're like, just stop the noise, right? As an organisation, forget you're a political party for a minute that are trying to win the next general election so you can have your guy as Prime Minister. You're rotten. There is no plan, there is no guidance, there's no leadership, right? There's no plan. And you're just waffling through this as you go along, and you can keep going, but we're quite new. You pulled that nonsense with the election 12 months ago when, you done stupid things like put candidates in Scotland that were wanting an independent Scotland, right? That was pretty bonkers, right? But you sort of waffled through all that and went, we're just new, right? How long did the nation keep going, they're just new? There is the only excuse for supporting Reform right now, if you watch and you read and you learn exactly what they're all about, is one simple thing. They're just not quite as bad as Labour or Tories. Because that's it. That's the only thing that you can argue. Because you don't have a plan. You promise things to do, like promise we're going to come out with a policy about what we're going to do with deportations, right? You'd said that like in the run-up to the local elections in England. Well, that was a month ago, maybe even more. And we still don't have this policy that you promised. So the perception is that Reform are this party that are going to deport everybody that shouldn't be here. Yet, the only evidence we've got, good or bad about that, was Nigel Farage himself on TV claiming months ago, we're not going to deport people. You just can't do that, right? But the perception is they're the party that are going to deliver this over 1.5 million. 1.5 million is a conservative figure for illegal immigrants we've got in the country, right? A lot of people think it's more than that and potentially 2 and 3 times that. However, let's just say it's 1.5 million. You've still not made any clear, definite public statement other than your leader telling you you're not going to do it, and people don't want to believe that. Some people saying crazy things like, oh, they need to say that, but once they get in power, they will. Okay, so we lie to the public now to get their votes. And genuinely, see if Tories or Labour just weren't as bad as they were when they were in power, Reform wouldn't have a chance of getting in power. And if you were to just vote for them on their credentials alone, you wouldn't touch them with a barge pole. However, having said all that, they are probably the best bet that are going to get into power by the time we get an election, if they don't get any worse, right? And probably the best choice for the country being the next, all the parties that can be the next government. There's probably, and that just kind of tells you how bad UK politics is just now. They're not very good. They're evidently total disarray. They don't know what they're doing from a Friday to a Saturday, right? Yet are still, and they tell lies, right? They told us that they're a democratic party. When you look at the constitution, they're far from it. They've got the perception of being one thing when they're totally the other, if you look at deportations. And they tell us lies about, we're going to come up, as soon as this election's finished, we're going to give you a definitive line on deportations. And we're still waiting, right? So they're pretty poor. But British politics is so bad that they're probably still the best option out there that can win an election. Staying up to date with events around the world can be difficult, where it's impossible to consult a single source for the full story. Narratives that shape public opinion often just reinforce media and corporate-backed vested interests. It's hard to know what information to trust. See what the media is exaggerating, sensationalising, over or under reporting. That's why I've been using Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that combines news from around the world in one place so you can compare coverage. For every news source, you can see if it has any political bias, how reliable the reporting is, and who owns them. They even have a blind spot feed that highlights news disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. Take a data-driven view on the news and stay current. Get news from thousands of sources worldwide in one place. I've been using Ground News to help me get all the world's news in one place and give a more balanced opinion on what we read and viewing who is telling us the truth and who isn't. Subscribe via my link to get 40% off the Vantage subscription. It's the one I use to get unlimited access to every feature. Your subscription can not only help my channel, but also help Ground News, as it makes the media landscape more transparent. The country is going mental, right? And I just, if Reform are going to be the next government, then I could think of worse things. I'll not be totally like dancing in the street or anything, right? Because there's a lot of things about them I just can't like, right? But I'll probably be glad it wasn't Labour, right? That's kind of where I am with the whole thing. But just stop trying to blow it. It's like, the only saving grace is they would need to do real bad. Because what they've done now is bad, if just as an organisation, right? All this stuff over the last 12 months. But I think I don't know what they would need, how bad they would need to be to actually not be the best out of bad, but the least worst out of bad bunch, right? Because that's kind of why people will vote for them. Or people will vote for them because the perception is it's a knight in shining armour coming over the hill to save Great Britain. And I don't believe they are. But what I do believe they are is just not as bad as Tories and Labour. And that's why I'm so disappointed in Reform. Because 12, 13 months ago, they should have been something totally different and better than what we've got. I was buying into perception until I figured out the stuff in Scotland where they're telling us they're a unionist party, but the second in command in Scotland and still is the second command in Scotland's a nationalist, although they try to say now he's suddenly a unionist, despite putting videos out like a year ago telling us he would still vote for another referendum. If there was one, he would vote for independence, right? And you go, you're a unionist party, stop pissing up our legs. So that's kind of how I went, no, reform only for me. But and at that time, I was on record as saying, but UK-wise, I kind of hope to do, because I quite liked reform at that time, UK-wise, and Nigel Farage didn't piss me off. But he does now. And they've got worse. And I think they are actually really underselling themselves to the good British patriots that still support them. And I've got lots of friends that are in that category, right? And I'm everly disappointed because as each story goes, they go, that's another bad thing. The only good thing that happened to them, as far as their support's concerned, their core support, was accepting Zia Yusuf's resignation. And now they've let that go 180 degrees now as well. Stop being bonkers. You're not the party we all thought you were going to be, but please just stop the rot so that the people who still believe in you can still have a party to kind of believe in. So please stop the nonsense. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up, put some comments below, and hit the share button. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. My subscriptions went up a fantastic amount over the last 10 days. Obviously, there was something happened in my life quite publicly where I got arrested for a YouTube video that helped that. I would lose the subscriptions quite easily and not be arrested. That'd have been my first thing. It's no great to get all these subscriptions on the basis of being arrested, but the channel's had a lot more subscribers over the last 8 days. But if you've not already done so, then what's keeping you, right? However, most important thing of all, unless you're this party that is shown and seen as a great white hope to many, many, many good patriotic people of the United Kingdom, yet you continually let them down, then not you. But
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.